we just did Whitney Webb and Ryan Christian and Ian Davis and I just did a panel on why you can't go along with the digital ID. That is the condition precedent
Yep.
to complete financial control, whether it's a public CBDC, a private crypto, or they do it with MasterCard and the banks. And we see the United States pushing the real ID like crazy. So we have to stop the digital ID and
Mhm.
we have to stop financial transaction control.
Mhm.
And unless you do that, all these other reforms are meaningless. They're just going to get reversed. How do we communicate to people that this is the meta control they have to stop?
The scan on the real ID is basically a scan of your DNA. It's a type of identification that the military has been using for quite some time. So that should be your first clue that what they're really doing is they're giving you a military ID, but the second thing they're doing with that ID is they're collateralizing you. They are
Right.
collateralizing your body. In other words, they're turning you into a slave. That should be enough to give anybody pause.
The conservatives are promoting the idea that um, they're going to stop bad people coming in across the border and they're going to use biometric surveillance to make sure they know who's good or bad, which means
Uh-huh.
100% of the population has to be on the system.
Yeah, now let's stop right there because I'm so glad you raised this issue. The they're making it sound conservative. It is not. If it were a genuine conservative position, they would be saying close the border, period.
Right.
Immigrate to this country legally. We don't care who you are. We don't care if you have a record or don't have
Right.
a record. We are not letting you in. That's the conservative approach. The idea that, oh no, we're going to give everybody a biometric ID and then let in the good people. No, no, sorry. Close the border. You cannot have national sovereignty unless you have control of your borders. It's that simple.
So I would like to point out we had tight borders before digital technology. We do
Bingo.
not need Planeteer to do high
Right,
sensor electronic fences
right,
because you establish a high sensor electronic fence anywhere,
right.
and that means 15-minute cities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. Yep.
Right,
Exactly. Yeah.
right,
We had border control and we had control of our borders before digital. We don't need all this crap.
right,
This is this
right.
and I'm sorry to use my French there, but that's what this is.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at the US government, it is spending hundreds of billions of dollars bringing all these people in and financing them.
Yes.
Somebody's financing the NGOs and all the different people who are bringing them, from around the world up into the United States. All we have to do is cut off the financing,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm
So,
glad you raised that issue because you can't tell me for a moment that Mr. Soros is paying one dime of his own money to finance. You can't tell me for a moment. No. You're right. The financing is coming from somewhere, and dollars to donuts is coming from some portion of our hidden system of finance.
well,
That
it's also coming from our pension funds.
well, that too.
Our
They're
pension
robbing
funds are
everything
buying,
blind. Yeah, they're robbing
right.
everything blind to fund all this. Absolutely.
One of the things that's been happening in Tennessee is people go down to renew their driver's license, and the civil service tells them they have to get a real ID, which is not true. It's a lie. We have 1 to 3 years, and we have two choices. We can slide into the digital concentration camps,
Hmm.
at which point we have no chance, or we can do everything we can to back it up by using cash,
Yep.
using checks,
Yep.
refusing to go all digital, opting out every time you get, refusing the real ID, bringing this to the state leaders who can really change this and do something about it and protect our financial freedom. And people say to me, well, that's a long shot. And what I've said to them is a long shot's better than no shot.
Right. Absolutely.
So I'll take the long shot. And the only conversation I want to have is how do we improve the odds of the long shot?